I'm William Stubbs. I'm a co-founder of Spur Projects. We started in 2011 as a non-profit grassroots awareness campaign. We started with a campaign called Soften the Fuck Up, aimed at especially younger men who are at risk of depression and suicide. We were born out of the fact that in Australia, suicide is the #1 killer of men aged 14 to 44. So more than road accidents, cancer, heart disease, drugs and alcohol, we kill ourselves more than anything else the world can throw itself at us. So we decided to do something about that. We started doing some online campaigns, and over the past 6 years, which feels like longer, we kind of morphed into doing a lot of digital online campaigns, culminating with our biggest campaign last year, which was How is the World Feeling? That was a worldwide real-time mental health survey through smartphone apps. So I met my co-founder Lee Crockford and a couple other young guys who had heard about these statistics from a report back in 2011, and it really was just a chance introduction through one of my best mates knew one of the other co-founders and said, oh hey, you should talk to Will. He knew that I had been through depression and nearly had to kill myself when I was a teenager, and that I'd probably had something to share in that area. And I rocked up thinking that, you know, I would be helping with behind the scenes organization and some project management and maybe writing some content. And they asked me to be the poster boy for it, actually. And so the first campaign, I was in the video talking about my own experiences. And I think that is a fairly unique way to start a startup. It's something that even when it's been really, really tough, it's something that's close to my heart. So we initially started chiefly aimed at young men, so 14 to 44. That was based on the statistics that if you're age 14 to 44 and a man in Australia, then suicide is the #1 killer. Over time, what we actually found is that while our campaigns are aimed at men and younger men, we're very careful with our language. So we don't say things like man issues, or that instead of tissues you'll use man rags. We talk about it quite frankly and using normal language, and I think what's happened with that is that all genders have kind of aligned to it. We get fans and followers that from all demographics. Over time though, we have launched campaigns that have been either focused on no particular demographic, such as How is the World Feeling, which included pretty much everybody, as well as this year we're launching Old Mates, which is focused on older men. And if you actually remove the natural causes of death for men in Australia and you look at pure raw data, suicide actually increases as you get older. So we're also a little bit unique, I guess, as an organization, in that we have a general issue which we're tackling, which is suicide mental health, but every campaign that we do, every product essentially that we launch has a slightly different demographic. Staying motivated is something that we get asked about a lot, and my co-founder and I have day jobs. We work for a consulting firm that met us through our work in Spur Projects and hired us, knowing well what we do. We also have, an attempt at a social life alongside that, and other projects that we do that we get invited to work on, or that we want to do something about. So Spur Projects has always been something that we have to balance, and motivation is something that's really tough, and I think everybody that's trying to build something, particularly in the startup space, has to manage that motivation, and you kind of go through that valley of excitement and pain. So this is a really great idea, this is amazing, through to this is the worst possible thing I could have ever thought about, why am I doing this? And you have to somehow get out of that valley back to the excitement again. I think for us, it is close to our heart, and I think it's the added benefit that when you're working in a space that is about helping other people, that constant motivation is that people need it and they rely on you. When we started, one of the first YouTube videos that we launched, Soften the Fuck Up, had a comment posted from an anonymous user, and we never found out who it was, but it said essentially that months prior they were looking at killing themselves, and they saw our video and that made them think that maybe they shouldn't do that, and that things haven't changed. They were still going through a tough time at that point, but they thought things might get better. And we still don't know who that was. And I think there are probably, quite a few people that maybe we have helped that have, been looking at killing themselves that didn't actually do that because of a message that we were just putting out there. And I think it's really hard to walk away from a project like this, or to indulge in laziness when you know there are people out there that need more of it. Biggest mistakes, actually a really interesting one for us, and not to pitch too much of all our projects, but we have one called Fuck Up Night. We've been running for a few years now, that was based on the idea that we worry about failure way too much. And we live in a world where we have 5 different social media accounts, and every one of them is basically a curated version of your life, and no warts and wrinkles, it's all just perfect. And the problem that creates is that we all think that everybody else is living their life exactly as they mean to, in exactly the best possible way, and you're the only one that fucks up. So we created this campaign where we bring people along to an evening, and they have 2 rules. They have to meet somebody new they've never met before, and they have to share a mistake they've made. And it could be something really huge, or it could be something tiny. And we've had mistakes that have ranged the gamut from, one of my favorites was a guy was deported, fired, and dumped by the same woman in the same week. And he remember sitting in the airport thinking, oh my God, what have I done? I'm such an idiot. And then later was laughing at it because it was an experience. And I think for us, we've done things like one time we deleted the entire website and had to rebuild it from scratch just because we pressed the wrong button, I think. Through to when we launched How Is Australia Feeling, we had a really high expectation number of users, and we were quite below that, but that meant that we just knew what to do better next time. And so when we relaunched with How Is the World Feeling, we had a better run of it. We knew what to avoid and what to focus on, and what things to be aware of could go wrong. So I think for us, mistakes are absolutely that. They're learning opportunities, and we don't worry about them too much. One of the best pieces of advice I was ever given was from my dad, who said that there's never a good time for anything. And that's absolutely true. And what that means is that there's no point waiting till things are perfectly right to start doing something. Things aren't ever going to be any better environmentally for you to do that idea or to try that out. And I think that's something that I've kind of held close to my heart, that if you have an idea, if you want to try something, just do it now. There's no point waiting. It's never going to be better to do it later. But at the same time, I think a lot of people do look for reasons not to just try something, and they worry about it being imperfect. And the biggest thing I've learned over the years is to worry less about perfection. Rarely do you have an idea that is perfect, that comes to you fully formed, and you can deploy it, and it's great. So the best thing I would ever say to anybody looking to do a startup is just start and make something shit, and then just make it a little bit better, and a little bit better until it's okay. And then when it's okay, make it a little bit better until it's great. And it's just as simple as that. Working at Fishburners has been really interesting, and I think when we held a hackathon here for a couple of days, and I was talking to the team here, and they were saying how impressed they were with it, and that they really liked what we were doing, I was quite keen to kind of leverage that and see if I get a trial, which worked out, and I'm really, really glad I did that. I'm blown away by the number of people that I've met. People that literally I've met at other areas and said, I definitely need to have a chat to you, let's have a coffee, and then came in on Monday and they were sitting around the corner in Fishburners. So I can't think of working anywhere else now. Like it provides everything I need. The people are great. There's no dickheads, which is a pretty good thing. And I think it's a great place for, I think it was Fishburners that said about increasing the surface area for luck. And so far for me, that's been absolutely true.